Okay. That's for the intro. Actually, we have an inspirational speaker today, but sadly, the speaker is unable to attend. So, we have recorded the inspirational meeting with Furkan and Dea. So, here's the video. I will share you guys the record.
Yesterday. Actually, I am sorry. We cannot doing it live with you guys because Ibu Sekar has agenda in every Tuesday morning. However, we are really eager to hear her insight and story. So we discussed with her and plan to have record it as the best way for delivering it to you guys. So I'm sure this session will inspire us to aim higher and think deeper in our professional journey. So without any further ado, let's begin our inspirational speaker session with her. Hello, Ibu Sekar.
Good, good. How are you? How are you guys?
How are you? We are doing well in this past week. How are you, Kak Furkan?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, such a nice conversation previously with you, Ibu Sekar, in our RTT. Ibu Sekar has attended our two of our location of RTT in Bali and also Yogyakarta. Yeah, it's really nice for having Ibu Sekar again in our all hands meeting. So, Ibu Sekar, for your information, guys, is one of the lecturer of FEB UGM. She has a inspiring journey that I can show you guys here. In 2008, she attended a bachelor degree in economics in Universitas Gajah Madah, and also after graduating in 2010, she attended MSc International Money, Finance, and also Investment in Durham University. And also in 2014, in the North California State of University, she pursues EC economic degree, and also in the same university in 2018 she attended a PhD economic degree, and also in 2021 she became an assistant professor of economic department in Universitas Gajah Madah. It is a really interesting journey of education and also degree, Ibu Sekar, your journey in microeconomy and investment, money and banking, and now you are going to microeconomic with the best policy. So I think this question will relate to your journey as much because throughout your career you focus in significantly of investment banking and also fiscal policy issue in the small open economic, including your mentioned before your impactful research with your dissertation and also government here, and for your working papers you made. Could you share how your academic pursuit have influenced real world economic policies? Maybe your challenge that you encountered in bringing theoretical economic from the university before in Indonesia, or something that we work with practical policy making in Indonesia?
So me and my team, we have worked with and for a lot of government institutions, Ministry of Finance, the National Planning Development Agency, Bappenas, and also Bank Indonesia. We help them in understanding a lot of phenomena and also how to formulate a better policy. So, for example, we did a work with Bank Indonesia where they want to better understand the dynamics of money demand in Indonesia. As you know, the way that we demand or the way that we demand cash has been, has changed dramatically in like 5 years. If you see yourself 5 years in the past or like 10 years in the past, you probably would have 100% of your money in cash, right? Probably you don't do that anymore now. You probably have like 2,000 rupiah, 5,000 rupiah just for the purpose of parking, right? Parking fee. And that has repercussion in how much central bank needs to print money, okay? Because they can't print a lot of money, too much money, it just have to be enough, right? So the dynamic of payment preference is really important for them. Especially, when you talk about Bank Indonesia, they also have representative offices in each province. So they want to better understand how that change in preference would affect their policy. Okay, so we did a research with them. It's a joint research, and I feel like we also did a lot of things, not just for like the central government, but also for the local government issues. With the National Planning Agency, Bappenas, we also did a research on how to better forecast inflation in the long run. inflation is a very important aspect of planning, local government planning, central government planning, because, when we talk about like people's welfare, it's not just their income. It's really about how much goods and services they can afford with their income, right? So inflation should also be a focus when you do planning, for example. And this is something that's I feel like have not been like the focus of a lot of local government. So that's why Bapnas asked us to work together with them to really develop a model that would allow the local government to do the planning with respect to inflation, or like the future, like potential inflation problem that they will encounter in the future. So those are the things that we did. We have so many things, but the bottom line is we always very happy to help local government, central government to really create like a improvement on the policy, or the policy process, or even like the policy analysis, or like looking at the impact of such policy for the people. So yeah, we did a lot of things in the past 5 years, especially during the pandemic.
Oh, that's a really great insight for you. As we know, the macroeconomic is a really wide area for exploring and research, because we have we have inflation, we have also another factor that affect the macroeconomic sector in Indonesia. And from what you are encountered, that you have done a various research with a various institution also for, developing economics, so it will be better for the economic system in Indonesia. This is what very interesting, because this is relating to our next question, that in various institutions, what have the most rewarding aspect of this collaboration for you personally and professionally? Maybe you can explore how this joint effort of enhance our impact for your research in macroeconomic policies.
Yeah, apart from doing research, which again really support the policy process, or the policy analysis in the central and local government level, we also do a lot of trainings for the government official. And this training made them, it allows them to really understand data and use the data for any kind of purposes that they need in their work line. For example, we did a lot of training in inflation forecasting, because in the past year, I think inflation is a really hot issue in Indonesia and also in the world in general. And when you look at the government official scale, that really couldn't keep up with the very complex dynamics of inflation, because we cannot just use like a simple model to do a good prediction, for example, because what's happening in the past 1 year and 2 years in the context of inflation it's super complicated. So the complexity needs a better understanding, in the sense of what we call time series analysis, so a better understanding of how data is generated, or the data generating process, right? So we did a lot of trainings, and that allows them to make, again, a better forecast for a lot of different things, so not just inflation. So for example, also regional GDP, or, also like consumption, for example, and all kind of like different macroeconomic variables. With that better understanding of how to do a better forecast, of course, they can do, a better, or like that would kind of like boost the performance of analysis of those government officials. So the impact that we did is not just at kind of like doing joint research or work together in certain areas, but also we do a lot of training. So it's like teaching, but not teaching students. We do a lot of teaching for government officials as well. So it's a part of like my passion of being, a researcher, because I feel like lecturer and researcher, they're not like mutually exclusive, as we call it, but it really is kind of like sharing what you have learned, or sharing what you have encountered in your research, and creating like a better way to teach, or like teach with like the very recent, and can I say like a very updated content. That's very important. So it's like two things that kind of like complement each other.
Okay, such a nice and great insight also. This makes one of our member of meeting today, Kak Furkan, is really want to ask you a question. He DMs me and saying that I want to ask a question for Ibu Sekar. So please, Kak Furkan.
Yes, thank you, Dea. So basically, Mr. Carr, I'm wondering, because you did a lot of projects and also joint research with the governments and institutions. So can you mention one particular and concrete example of what research that you have done that is actually being implemented to the policy. For example, you find the research of what is it? The payment preferable methods by society at this moment, and now has been implemented as what from the central bank and such. That's my first follow-up questions. And second one probably will be exposed later after you answer this question.
Okay, I cannot answer that question
Oh, I
because
see.
some projects are very confidential.
Oh,
And there's like a NDA.
Very unfortunate.
Like we signed NDA and stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, in general, a lot of our research has been used to kind of like creating an argument for a policy, right? It's not
Okay.
necessarily that what we do is implemented directly. A lot of process behind policy formulation and policy implementation. What we did is kind of like contributing in the policy formulation. Suppose that, you know, the process of creating a policy, it used to be very, I don't know, I'm saying like probably erratic, or like they use like a very, I don't know, rudimental type of model, or like that need to have more sophistication in the model. So we help them to create such model. So it's not necessarily that, well, again, I cannot tell you a specific
Yeah.
project, but it's always like helping them with the policy formulation. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Thank you for the answer. And for the second one, because you talk about inflation, I was wondering. So basically, as at least I observed in the last 10 years, there is no point that we will push down the inflation rate. At least as my observation as newbie. Do you have tips for us as as the society, the community, at least on the personal level, how we can do to minimize the inflation that we can do in the daily basis?
Okay, so let me go back to the term inflation. It's basically general level price. So increase in general level of price. So we can't just say that, oh, the price of rice in Pasar Sri Bantas, for example, it's like 2,000 rupiah more expensive than yesterday. So, you know, there's that because of inflation. Or it's not like that. When you talk about inflation, it's the increase in general level of prices. So it's everything. And it has to be continuously. So a price that went up like 1 or 2 days and then went back down in the next 3, 4 days, then that's not constitutes as inflation. Okay, that's not inflation. We have to talk about like the whole level of prices in Indonesia. Okay, not just one goods, not just one region. It has to be all goods, all region. Okay. Now the interesting thing is that prior to 2022, when you know, we had the problem with the Ukraine and Russia war, the Russian invasion, and then, you know, price of oil went up so much, and then there has to be like a price adjustment of domestic fuel prices. That's when inflation went up so high. We actually had like a very stable inflation in the past, well, since 2016 till 2021. Well, 2020, 2021 inflation was so low because it was pandemic, right? You wanted to spend money, but you could not spend money because, you know, social mobility restriction that kind of like hamper the aggregate demand in this economy. Okay, so when aggregate demand is low, given the supply, what happens is the general level of prices will go down. Okay, so we have like a very stable inflation period, as I call it, from 2016 to mid 2000 or 2021. 2022, it was very chaotic, and nothing that we could do nothing in a sense, because the inflation was what we call it imported inflation. Not from the imported goods per se, but from the increase in world level of oil. Okay, so the price of oil in the world went up because we imported a lot of oil to, you know, basically to produce the fuel that we're using in this economy. That created the price adjustment by the government, and that price adjustment really was the one who, which kind of like jacked the inflation up in that period. There's also a problem with the weather. Weather is, I mean, you know, climate change just, you know, it's here, you guys. It's like when you talk about like digitalization, you know, online payment, electronic payment, you know, e-commerce and all kinds of things. That's a new, I'm calling like a new development, or like a shock in this economy that would really change the way that we do things, right? Like the way that you pay when you purchase something, the way that you buy things, and so on and so forth. So digitalization is a very, very important issue. But climate change is not like in your face type of issue, because when you go to Jogja, when you live in Bali, you don't feel such an extreme movement in weather like when live in like four seasons country, for example, in Europe or Australia or the US, right? So we haven't had the thought that climate change could affect our economy, but it did. When you look at the data of inflation in July 2022, inflation was caused by the price of chili. That was very unusual because July is supposed to be dry season for us, right? But at that time, it was raining so bad everywhere, Java, Bali, and basically the supply of chili, all of the crops were destroyed, a lot of the crops were destroyed, and that dwindled the supply. Now, the thing is that if that happens continuously, that would create a bigger problem for this economy in general, for different kind of crops. Now when you go farming, you rely so much on the weather, you rely so much on the dry and rainy season, and then you plant paddy, right? You have sawa, and it's going to be very hard for you to keep the usual farming planning pattern that you had before. So you're going to have to adjust, and with that adjustment to fulfill the demand for different kind of commodities, for example, rice, then the government has to import rice, and that that kind of like that messes up with the import pattern as well. It's getting more and more complicated. So now climate change is something that we have to really focus on. What are the effects of climate change to our country, for some region, or for the whole economy in general? So I feel like the topic of inflation is getting more interesting with the climate change that's already here. And what can you do as an individual? Probably you shall not eat too much chili because you're contributing. No, but there's a lot of things. Okay, there's a lot of things that we can do. Essentially, when you look at, like, I'm not talking about inflation, but in general, any commodity, the price is driven by demand and supply, right? When you have too much demand, less supply, price is going to go up, and the other way around. Now, the problem with us is that, for example, for a commodity, rice, we rely so much on rice. You eat rice for breakfast, lunch, dinner, even for supper, if you want to eat 4 times a day. And everyone does that. So we're always going to depend so much on rice, on, the farmer, or imports, for example. Now, what if we have kind of like food diversification? Okay, what if I don't have to eat rice 4 times a day or 3 times a day. I probably can eat like rice 2 times a day, and I'll eat like potato or any kind of carbs. You can eat singkong, right? You can eat even when you talk about corn rice. When you eat corn rice, people will perceive you as a poor person, which is ridiculous because corn rice is actually healthy. Also, if you like red rice or like black rice or like the most expensive rice, people don't want to eat it because, but we need food diversification in that context. So I hope that answered your question. So you should switch to corn rice or.
It's like a promotion here. But yeah, thank you very much. You gave me insight and perspective that I never thought about it. Even in our daily consumption, it could actually has a domino effect to our macroeconomics, inflation and such. But inflation is only one particular piece in our macroeconomic effects. But yeah, there's many things. So thank you very much, Ms. Zakar, for extending my view. Back to you there.
Yeah, Kak Furkan, totally right. Yeah, I just realized that every small move or small activities that we do, even eating rice, it's just like, what is wrong with eating rice 3 times a day? But yeah, it's totally can affect our macroeconomy if we don't diverse our consumption consumption. So that was a very good insight, and I believe your insight will be delivered well to our employees in Bukit Vista, and so they maybe can change something, diverse their consumption and diverse their meal every day to prevent the inflation happen in the future. Maybe we can help you in a very small amount of repress the inflation. Okay, that's a very good and fruitful discussion we have here. But since the time is up, we should close this session. We are very thankful for having you here, Ibu Sekar, and I think our employees is also very excited to hear your insights in today's all hands. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great weekend and also great days ahead. And see you when we see you again.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Busukar, for the inspirational speech and Q&A. I believe the next is vision and mission statement be presented by Mr. Jing. Mr. Jing, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dea, for calling for organizing Sakar. She is probably one of the most inspirational speakers I've heard this year. It's very, very fascinating knowing that our daily behaviors have impact on the overall big picture of what happened in the country. And by making small adjustments to what we do, we can implement a better strategy, which is highly relevant into what we're going to be talking about today. All right. Yeah, she does kind of look familiar. Not sure where I've seen her before. Oh, Bayu, where do you think you've seen her before?
I don't know. I think I just feel like met her before.
Okay. Well, if you remember, that could be really good. It's part of our whole sort of particular strategy for better community management. All right. So let's talk about 2024. I've got some good news. I've got some bad news. So let's get into it. I'm going to use a new color pattern to help everybody understand. I hope everyone is I hope nobody's colorblind. Otherwise, it will look the same. But anyway, so green and blue, green and red. Green is good. Red is not good. Red. Occupancy. Occupancy peaked in March at 89.5%, and now it's 87%. So I put in an animation there. It's probably a little bit hard to see, so I made a close-up of the animation to show everybody what I mean, okay? So take a look at this. In January, occupancy went from 86% up to 89% February, okay? It kept at 89% in March. In April, 87.5, so it fell. May is lower. May hasn't finished yet, of course. So, of course, there's more time, more space to develop the May occupancy. But the trend seemed to have peaked and now is working its way downwards. Okay, so that's not good news. The second that's not good news is that our hospitality is now dropped to 79.5%. This is 4 drops in a row consecutively. So this is also not good news. The year-on-year rate growth was the lowest it's ever been in April. So typically from the beginning of the year, January, 11% growth based on January 2023. February, 18% growth based on the previous February in 2023. And March, 18% growth. April was the worst growth, 4% growth. Very unusual. All right, some good news. So let's take a look at the booking pace. For those of you who don't know, the booking pace, I would say, is probably the closest representation of our brand and our ability to gain future revenue. The booking pace is low and dropping, not so good. So what is the booking pace? Booking pace seems to have actually stabilized. Back around March up to early April, our booking pace was highly fluctuative, meaning it goes up and goes down quite a lot. Over the past about 2 weeks, it stabilized, and now the booking pace for the past week has been rising. This is good news. That's why it's green. Next is our daily sales. Our daily sales performance is stabilizing. As you can see before, drawn with the arrows, it went up a little bit in early March, then came down, went up a little bit, then sort of fluctuated, but generally stabilized. Then it started going really down over the first 3 weeks of April, and now it seems to be climbing up. I think the closest correlation to explain a lot of this was probably the holidays. I think, of course, we celebrate holidays, and that's great. We don't want to make that employee experience downfall. But the thing I think was this: there's 2 compounding factors. One, we were steady to achieve our semester goals before the holidays. Then during the holidays, I think what happened was we just sort of let the ball drop, and that kind of explains the particular patterns that we're seeing at this point. However, daily sales is rising, so that is good. All right, during the last all hands, the 3 things we talked about: revenue goals were off track, hospitality goals were off track, strategy was stagnant. This all hands it seems like it's not green, but it's getting a little bit better. All right, so we're using orange to indicate, let's say, gradual improvement. The revenue goals and progression are improved. Hospitality is still off track and getting worse. Strategy seems to be waking up. Of course, we need more development. I'll go into what all of us can do. So these are the critical insights I want everybody to think about at the beginning of the week, which is if you worked on revenue goals and you want to see continuous improvement, then you really need to ask, what did you learn last week that you can repeat again this week? Otherwise, the revenue will probably go back to going down again, unless we can apply the knowledge that we have learned already towards how we actually take and manage our time for this week. If you worked on hospitality goals, let's think back when the hospitality goals kept on rising, which I think was before the holidays. Before the holidays, we would see hospitality targets rise, but it hasn't been doing so. Now, there's perfect, of course, accountability in latency. So whatever is probably we're seeing right now, the seeds were planted most likely a few weeks back. But think back what you did before the holidays and then ask yourself what probably didn't happen during the holidays or immediately after following the holidays. I think that is probably where the strategy was could be improved. Now, what can you do? We talked about this last week. Inaction is not tolerated. Everyone has a part, just like what we learned from Sakar. By even changing the way that you eat nasi corn, you can affect inflation for everybody, right? So we each have a part that we can play if we understand the macroeconomic strategy and what we can do as individuals to guide that. So here's personal accountability. I want you to know, each one of you to know that if you're not sure of how your work actually affects a metric, either in hospitality or revenue, it's your job. It's your job to find out which metric that you're supporting. If you're a manager and you're not sure, if your manager isn't sure, then it's their job to make sure you're also aware of what that is. Okay, so both sides need to be clear about what essentially is the strategic way to spend the rest of your time this week so that we are actually making progress towards our metrics. Now, I'm going to share with you how I think this can be done. It's really just inspiration. It's really having a higher curiosity than fear. So I'll share what I got wrong. Well, I'll share that a little bit after this one. Let's talk about this. So Furkan mentioned to give a little bit of a heads up in terms of the employee experience and how bonus caps are. So I'll just say this. We're at the beginning of a new semester. So our behavior at the beginning of the semester will really determine whether or not we are aligned to reach the next semester goal. So let's focus on transforming behavior first. If I see behavior as a company is changed to focus on strategy and think more strategically, I'll probably be more lenient when it comes to the decision of making a bonus cap, even if we don't reach our goal, all right? But if behavior as a company is not evolving and we don't want to think strategically, then it's an overall problem. And it's something that we all must actually experience as a loss until that behavior as a company changes. So then bonus caps will apply. So for this particular month, since it's the beginning of the semester, please do focus on thinking strategically, everybody, all right? That's how we're going to be able to then reach our semester goals. Now, let me show you a mistake that I made. I don't know if you guys remember this from a few all hands ago. We talked about a high growth sustainable cycle from BV6, which we are now currently in. And I think I made a mistake, all right? So this is my mistake in my strategy. The reason I'm sharing it is so that strategy is not something that is done once at the beginning of the month and then is finished. Strategy is continuous. You need to take a look at what you're doing and really ask, okay, getting results and making impact, what is it that in your effort is making this impact? And what is it that you think should make impact that isn't? Here's one of the examples of something that did not work. We thought by acquiring more partnerships and having more authority, partners will find us since our product is good. We've realized that that's not very reliable. We realized that our particular service does not transmit automatically just because we're good. Our service does take time to understand. It takes maturity. It takes frequent engagement. It's not something that people are immediately understanding and familiar with. It's because we're very innovative. Our service is quite different from other property management services. Each of you can look around and ask yourselves, is this like the typical composition of a property management company? If you're not sure, go on LinkedIn, take a look at some of our other property management companies, and you'll see that they have far less innovation and far less technical prowess. So we're probably ahead in terms of our ability to understand where the future is, and that's a good thing. But it is going to take longer time for that to understand. And so we do need to focus on this particular idea of how to develop a stronger partner understanding. It's not going to happen just by itself. All right. So I'm fixing that mistake by essentially having a new interpretation of where we should focus our strategy. And hopefully everybody here can also take a look at what they thought previously that probably isn't strategic and replace it with better ideas that is strategic, which is at the heart of innovation. Okay, let's go over the semester goal. We're up to the 5th semester, and we're looking for a revenue goal of $3 million. Overall hospitality rating of 4.8, 5-star percentage of 80%. As a result of reaching our goals, we will pay 5x bonuses if the company reaches a 3 million sales target from April 1st, 2024 to September 30th, 2024, measured on October 5th. Qualified interns will receive 5 million. All right, so this part is important. The revenue goal is not negotiable. We do need to reach that revenue goal in order to continue paying semester bonuses. So the revenue goal and 2 hospitality goals, we pay 5x individual bonuses for September 2024. If we reach 1 revenue goal and 1 hospitality goal, we'll pay 3x individual bonuses for September 2024. Interns, if the revenue goal is not reached, then there is no bonus. So let's just set that up very early on so that we think more critically about the revenue goal, okay? It's not that we reach revenue goals and no hospitality goals. The hospitality goals are important, but the hospitality is now more of a given rather than something that is more of a stretch. Okay, all right. As always, bonuses are calculated on the weighted average of monthly individual bonus so that it's fair for newcomers and people who've been here for longer. And also bonus caps will apply to underachievement months, but also bonus boosts will also apply as well. Okay, for interns, 3 goals for 5 million, 2 goals for 2, 1 goal for 1, and that's it. Right. Part of innovation is remembering this. Sometimes we're in good periods where we are doing really well and we can celebrate and think about what we're inspiring delight. Part of innovation is also having the right mindset and having the right ideas when things are not going well, and then thinking about how to positively transform that. So every time I see that the company is struggling, as we have been over the past few weeks, it's time to actually think of how to inspire delight. We always do this traditionally through innovations. We can innovate in hospitality, and you know it's working when you see the positive transformation. More 5-star reviews from guests, more happiness from our partners, and of course, when everybody here is seeing progress and transformation in their own careers and their time here, then we are moving ahead with the mission that unites all of us here at Bukit Vista. Okay, that's my 2-piece. I'm going to give it back to, I think, Pandu. Yeah, over to you, Pandu.
Thank you for the mission and vision, sir. The floor is on Weda. Agus Weda, you can continue ahead.
Okay, thank
sorry.
you, Kapandu. So the next one is the hospitality and revenue target delivered by Kak Kai. Kak Kai, the floor is yours.
Thank you. For this part, I would like to present myself. If you guys don't mind. A second, please. But okay, thank you, Pandu. All right. Kindly skip this next one. To the next page, please, Pandu. Okay. No. The page before this. Okay. So everyone, quick catch up. Anyone would like to guess which property is this? Property testing gak seru nih, bocor mulu. Kuas. Smart. Okay, correct. This is this is Lengkungan, the new property that we launched, I think, last week. Anyone would like to guess which unit is this? Because we have 4 units of them. Okay, give it up to Erika. Yeah, as expected from a BD, yeah. Okay. This is really good, really delightful properties actually, and really delightful photographs. So thank you for the team contributing to this part. Okay, next, let's check on the more exciting part. Please take a look first. Give it like 5 seconds to see these 4 properties, different properties. I would like you guys to think. Skip to the next one, Pandu. if you book this property, if you would like to book this property and you are in the process of wanting to make reservations, kindly rate your reservation continuations likelihood from 1 to 10 after seeing those. 1 to I don't want to book, 10 I still would like to book. Please comment your answer on the chat. Okay. Only messaging here attending this meeting. 8, 5, 9. If it is within my budget, regardless of the budget or the number of bedrooms or anything, just basically from these icons, these informations. 8, 9, 7. Okay, I think some more than 7 video. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think this is a quick feedback cycle company-wide, basically to see from the guest perspective, especially for the marketing team. If you create a content, can you imagine how our guests or prospects basically would like to book the property once they see this? Still on range of 7, 9, 8. So it's good, but can be improved then. Okay, next up, Andu. Thank you, everyone. Let's talk about our target so far. First, let's go to the hospitality target achievements first. Yes, I would go messaging. Marlex looks really good, and the new listing for Marlex is also really great. If you guys would like to take a look, kindly free to do so. Okay, the first one, let's take a look on the accuracy. Next up, Andu. Okay, this is a bit of bump up. Previously, we were at 81.5%. This week, we are at 82.3%. So this is finally good news after 3 weeks. Next, on the check-in, this is pretty stable, but it's not really good, not really improving. We are still at 85.9%. Let's try to hit 90% if you'd like to achieve this semester target. Next, on the cleanliness side, this is the bad news. We are keep on going down. At the moment, we are at 78.6%. So let's try to cleanliness. Let's try to achieve 80%, 82% at least for this month. Next, on the I think it's a bit lagging. Undo. Yeah. Kindly skip to the next one. This is cleanliness before. Pandu doesn't pay attention nih. No. Pandu, stop communication before. Yeah, thank you. Pretty stable, still at 84% on communications. Let's try to improve this at 90% with the involvement of the engineering team. Okay, focus Pandu. Next on locations. And also the bad news here, we are at 73%. We have a couple of bad reviews related to the locations, having the involvement of transportations, especially for Lero Jungle House. And thus we have value. On value, this is also a bit slight of a bump up. We are at 78.7%. We could do better. We've been better, so let's try to achieve that. And last but not least, for the overall metrics, at the moment, we are at 80.4% for the 5-star ratings and 4.71 of our ratings. So it's still pretty far from our desirable, like really far, because achieving this overall takes a lot of generic involvement from all the metrics. So let's try to focus on this part, especially for the next 4 months. Next, we have revenue side. This is important. Okay, as promised, also requested by Mas Bayu before, this is filled by Bella actually. We can actually see the comparison between the ideal milestone for each revenue targets and the actual revenue that we have been able to achieve so far. So we can see the gap between those metrics and see how far we are actually at. At the moment, we have achieved 1,026,015 US dollar. We still have 146 days. Remember that these went by quickly, so let's make sure that we contribute our day on the things that are actually supporting our company's growth. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you. Get back to you, Weda. Thank you, Pandu.
Thank you, Kak Kai. Let's move on to the weekly emission inspirations. And the first one I see in the guest side, there is no innovation for now. And let's move on to the partner side. From the first one, Kak Erika, the floor is yours.
Oh wait, can I stop the meeting for a moment? Here. This is exactly what I mean by strategy. Okay. So if our hospitality scores are going down and there's no innovation for what to do in order to raise them up, then we don't really have a strategy, do we? Okay, just think about that for a moment. All right. So let's go back to wait up.
Okay, thank you, sir. From the partner side, let's move on to Kak Erika. Kak Erika, the floor is yours.
Okay, let's start from the roundtable talk from 30 April. Pandu? Oh, enggak. Itu maksudnya di submissionnya Pandu. Yang bawah sendiri nomor 3. Yeah, that one. So this is the article from last week, everyone. So we had a guest, which is our prospect, potential partner, which is Kai and Miriam. They rent a villa in Bingin, a very good location, for 2 years, and then they're planning to rent it out. And then this is Christoph. So Christoph is Hungarian, and we actually just had a meeting at 3, and then I invited him to join the activity, and then he come all the way down from Ubud to our office in Jimbaran to join the dinner. And then it was pretty delightful. By the end of the meeting, the guests exchange number, and then they are planning to have a meeting for the open house of Christoph's villa in Ubud. And then next, yang selanjutnya, another row, another di X dulu Pandu. Nah, atasnya. Yang atas. Okay. So this we also have another dinner actually on Thursday, but there is no documentation uploaded yet. Weda. So we had a dinner with Pak Jero, the owner of Casa Karuna. I believe he has 2 units of villa in Unggasan, and also we have Pak Adi and Bu Winda. They built 3 units of small house in Pantai Lima next after Pradhanan, and we also have Bu Meli, which who own like 2 unit of villas, and we've been managing for a couple of months, and yep, pretty crowded that night. So yeah, that's the 2 of the RTT from last week. Back to you, Kian Weda.
Okay, thank you, Kak Erika, and sorry for the latency of the documentation. And the next one, we move on to innovation from employee side. Here we see Kak Furkan's innovation. Kak Furkan's, may you share your innovation here?
Sorry, thank you very much, Veda, for the floor. So last week we conducted the roundtable talk with Pak Dr. Sunu and also Pak Shukron. Both of them are actually the lecturers from College of Engineering UGM, and this is the meal. And we finally find out the more affordable restaurant. Yeah, be able to cut costs, but still inspiring. And then this is the picture. That's the picture of Pak Sunu on the left. On the right side, on the left side of Mas Gani, and Pak Shukron is the one on the right side of Ali. They are both specialized in artificial intelligence, which Pak Shukron is actually very dedicated. He started his study from the S1 in artificial intelligence until on his S3 learn and also develop the algorithm for the GPT. While Pasuno is, even though he is now interested in artificial intelligence, was based on UX research. So he actually explained to us about how the human and computer behavior interaction, and he was the first one to research what is it? The running ads, the running advertisement on the television in Indonesia. So yeah, that was very interesting discussion, and hope you guys, especially if you are keen into the AI and also UX, please approach them. Yeah, you can trade through PR, and then we can connect for mentorship. So yeah, and that's one thing. And the second thing is career day MBA FAB UGM. So last Thursday and also Friday, I was invited into the career day MBA FAB UGM. You can click the pictures, Pandu, that I have attached there. Okay, thank you. So that was me presenting into several what is it, graduate students, and yeah, me presenting Bukit Vista. And thank you very much, Kashelin, for revoking the what is it, career site, because they actually we have one testimonial from the candidate that Bukit Vista is what is it, the most has the most structured website along with the other companies. So I think that's where we get the result, the testimonial directly from the user. So that's actually the work paid off, and it is actually belongs to the marketing team as well to refine the product knowledge management, and we inspired from them. So yeah, that's basically it. The innovation, back to you, Vedak.
Okay, so just now there is another innovation from employee side. It's from Mr. Jing, the floor is yours.
Okay, listen up. Actually, here, I'll take this opportunity to share a video, everybody. So recently I went to the Satarja Center of Entrepreneurship and Design, and I've made a CapCut video to illustrate that. Wait, before I show it, I just want to make sure for Colin, do I have enough time? Probably not, yeah? It's a 3-minute video. Okay, all right, forget about it. I'll share it next week then, okay? But yeah, back over to Weda.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jing. Let's move on then to the technological innovation. In the first one, we have KRD. KRD, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Weda. So the innovation is revenue for 100% unsupervised automated revenue projection process. The problem is revenue projection, as we know, Apollo still need human involvement. This adds time to process and the resource is limited. Solution, we make automate process for a revenue projection document. But because there's so much things to do, make it all automate. So the time is not enough. So I need next iteration. And the list of the issue is, you can see at the bottom, there's a lot of things to do. And for the next iteration plan is focused to fulfill all this process to achieve 100 automate unsupervised revenue projection, and need minimum 10 projection to be 100% automate. And this include from the internal input from the internal team. Okay, thanks for that.
Okay, thank you, Kak Ardi. The next one is from Kak Dava. The floor is yours, Kak Dava.
Okay, August, I will take over the file for this point because he's not attending this all hands. So the innovation is analyze unspoken question from fireflies. So in case you don't know about this innovation, the problem is to identify the challenge of repeatedly answering similar questions, which led to a need for content ideas from marketing team, perhaps to create relevant articles. And the solution that has been implemented, we're setting up a system that automatically suggests new article titles whenever there are questions about the topic. Additionally, it automatically sends out links to helpful articles whenever those questions come up. About the evaluation, the conversation analysis achieved 100% coverage by Echo, but the user satisfaction score only 40%. And analysis of the issue is about feedback loop and discrepancies. And we don't need to revert the feature despite the result. So we will have next iteration plan about feedback focus, accuracy enhancement, and target reliability. I think that's it from me. Back to you, Agus.
Okay, thank you, Kak Vito. Also, we are running out of time, so I would like to request for an extension about 10 minutes. And then we will move on to community team target and achievements, which will be delivered by Kak Kai. And the time limit is maximum of 5 minutes, yeah, Kak Kai. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go directly to after this one directly to the MSM announcement too. Okay, so for my target, this is announcement for all of us. For the revenue target, our OK target is for 405,000 US dollar with an awesome target of 451. At the moment, we have achieved around 73% of it. For the 5-star percentage, our OK target is 80% and the overall rating is 4.72. At the moment, we haven't been able to achieve both too as well. We are at 75.9% for the our rating. This is Pandu. No, this is Pandu. Can you scroll up a bit? Yes, thank you. And our rating, we are still at 4.65. So what are our opportunities? Until now, we managed to have around 43% occupancy on the opportunity side. And 3% expired debts, 2% maintenance, and 3% owner usage. This is significantly much lower comparing to the last 3 months, where our owner usage and maintenance was around 5% respectively. We have still about 49% slide available to sell to achieve our OK target. So let's see and keep on tracking if we can be on track regarding our revenue achievement this month. All right, this is just a quick announcement. If we can take a look on the semester 5 milestone on the left side. Yep, that part. Okay, I will not ask any of us to basically engage in this. I just would like to let you know that at the moment, we have a cumulative of 3, basically strategic milestone. You can collapse the rows if you feel like it's too much. You can collapse the row basically from the very left button. Yes, we have 3 strategic milestones. The first one would be the enhanced conversions from potential AUM to managed AUM by 1.5 times. So basically our target was to convert around 33,750,000 US dollar. We would like to still attain our targeted hospitality performance and attain our targeted revenue performance. From each of these milestones, we have concluded around couple of plans. 1 plan for the first strategic milestone, 2 plans for the second, and 1 plan for the revenue. In this part, I actually would like each one of you later on to take a look on these activities here, and please make sure that you are part of any team that actually contributing to these initiatives. If you find yourself not working or your daily activity is not correlated directly or indirectly to these initiatives or these strategies, please note that you might are not doing the correct thing. So please contact your leaders or your supervisor for that part. It is within your responsibility, and check how you can actually contribute to that, especially on the shift arrangement. Thank you. I think that's all, and gets back to you, Ed.
Thank you so much, Kak Kai. Next one, we move on to core value recognition. And there is one, it's from Kak Kai again.
Oh yeah,
Over to you, Kak Kai.
this part. Okay, I was yesterday years old actually when I discovered this feature in Discord. Thanks to Mr. Jing for telling me and to Felix for telling him, because Mr. Jing would not tell me if Felix did not do so. If you can take a look on the picture, basically, maybe a lot of us have been aware of this, maybe some of us have not. So if you guys haven't, please help yourself. I attach a video too, basically for the steps, but if you can, yeah, take a look on the picture. Basically, if you would like to present something, you can choose whether it's a text or it's a video or it's image, and you would like to make sure that what you deliver basically has the highest quality possible. Try that yourself. Okay, thank you, Mr. Jing and Felix, for helping me help myself.
Okay, thank you, Kak Kai. And the next core value recognition is from Mr. Jing. Over to
Okay,
you, Mr. Jing.
I'm gonna recognize Wayu, and the reason is because he doesn't settle. oftentimes we have revenue management discussions, and also I coach YU on investment strategy. He shows up every time with a new idea. Even when things are already pretty good, he comes up with another idea. I think that's actually very inspirational. So that's what actually gets us out of being kind of trapped in a knowledge pit. So that's curious, creative, and it's a spirit of always looking to seek improvement. Thank you, White, for never settling.
Thank you, Mr. Jing. And the next one, I see here there's Bang Marcel. Over to you, Bang Marcel.
Oh yeah, I've been working around Hafiz and Agus last 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 weeks, and I learned that there actually has a lot of things. I mean, potential in them that they can actually explore. But I think there's some conservative ideas in this mind that so they're not exploring that. So I believe since we move the content support to HubSpot 2, so I think it is the best time for us to be aggressive and deliver some progressive improvement, especially in marketing. I think, yeah, that's it. Thank you, Agus. Hafiz.
Thank you, Bang Marcel. I think that's all for the core value recognitions. Now let's move on to the announcements. The announcements will be delivered by Kak Shelin. Kak Shelin, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you, Eda. So, this is actually an announcement for everyone actually in the company. So, I was actually discussing with Furkan on this one like several days ago, right, when we actually announced the no bonus arrangement, and this is what we are going to do for the upcoming no bonus policy arrangement. So we'll only deliver 50% of base salary if there is no feedback given from the evaluator, or let's say the employee or the interns like commenting back in the employee journal. So considering that we are not performing as well as we used to as a company, this is the right time to reflect on our individual performance and how we can contribute better. So let's say in the next coming months, if this actually happens again, please do note that this is the policy that we are going to apply, guys. So do make sure to give feedbacks as well as give your comments on time as well. And a quick reminder that we are actually if you haven't actually done your commenting as well in your journals, the dependencies should be done by today 12 p.m. Witaya. So yeah, that will be all. And I think just now Furkan want to add on something.
Yes, to add the clarification on that. So basically, if we have a bonus setting for a specific month, we usually withhold the bonus payment if we do not give it back to the journal. So basically, if there is no bonus set for specific month, we do not have the trigger to make sure the employees to read their feedback and also commenting on the journal. So that's why we implement this. The 50% salary withhold, not cut, but just withhold it. Just withhold it until you have given the evaluation. So yeah, so that's basically it. Yes, Mr. Jing, you raise your hand.
Sure. Okay. So I didn't know about this policy, but anyways, I'm thinking that our VPs are knowledgeable enough. Is the idea behind this so that people will actively ask for feedback rather than not ask for feedback?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Basically that, and then they are actively commenting on the journal's evaluation as well for themselves.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
That's basically it.
Okay. So I guess the problem that we're solving is before there's feedback, but there's probably no ingestion of that feedback. So we need to make sure that the attention is captured, right, Furkan? Okay, understood.
Okay, so I'll clear. Then we'll give this back to Kashilan.
Okay, I think thank you Furkan for clarifying as well. And yeah, I think that will be all for the announcement. So please take note to all of the upper managers and everyone as well for this upcoming policy. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Kak Shelin. That's all from today's all hands. I will give it back to Kak Pandu. Kak Pandu, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you guys for attending this today's all hands. Let's focus on our revenue and goals. Me and Weda signing out. Bye bye.
Oh,
See you on the next
let
week.
me give some critical feedback right now. I generally try to avoid pointing out anything in public, but I think it's better that we just hear what we need to improve rather than head towards another month where we see disappointment. Okay, here's two things. Number one, when we talk about our weekly innovations, I've noticed we are really not talking oftentimes about innovation anymore. We're just giving an update. Okay, so this is specifically on, let's say, the roundtable talk. The roundtable talk, unless there's an innovation, which there are actually, please describe what that innovation was. All right, what made it different from the previous time, and what, let's say, recovered from underperformance in the roundtable talk that we've seen before. The other one is more on particulars, right? So there have been some innovations in the partnership experience, such as I'm looking at Ghani right now. Ghani shared with me that if you look for who is the best property management company in Bali on Google Gemini, it now shows Bukit Vista. Okay, I think it's important to also realize that that didn't happen by accident. There was some hard work in the knowledge management and the creation of articles such that we're getting a first page search result now, or first, not even a first page, it's the first result when you consult an AI for these particular facts. So two things. It's, I think, just a company-wide understanding of we are doing things that are correct, but somehow we don't actually connect that to strategy. And then we're doing other things that are just actually activity, and it should not be reported as something as an innovation or strategy. Okay, so I hope that can be clear. Furthermore, on the monthly strategic milestones, I really didn't see any, I didn't see anything from engineering technology really committed to, let's say, improving the metrics. So there seems to be a disconnect on that side. And I fully appreciate when let's say Artie and the engineers, Vito and Vidi, report innovations in engineering, but it'd really be good to see actually what that particular impact on the metrics were. Okay. Yes, over to you, Kyla.
Okay, things are just, I would like to clarify regarding engineering involvement. It's already on the MSM related to the roles automations. And
okay, all right.
when are
The
the
correction.
reporting to Krishna? Yeah, I just would like to clarify that.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, hey, core value recognition to Kyla, everybody. Why? Anybody want to know why?
Step on toes.
Yes.
Yes, stepping on toes. Good. All right. I appreciate that, Kyla. And I appreciate people who actually will correct that. That is actually part of strategic thinking. If, let's say, I'm going off on the wrong strategy and I don't get corrected, then it's very likely that maybe everyone's suffering because I'm being an idiot. Okay. So thank you, Kyla, for pointing that out. That is actually really good. And if Kyla can do it for me, you guys can also do it for me, but you can also do it for any of your direct managers as well. All right. So let's continue with that way of thinking and achieve more goals. Okay. All right. Fantastic. I'll give it back to, I guess, Pandu. Okay. You can close it out.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jing. Let's note that to achieve our next target and our goals. That's all for today. Me and Weda signing out. See you on the next week. Bye bye.
All right. See you guys. Great weekend.
Thank you, Pandu. Thank you, Eda.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.